On September 14th, targeted strikes on 2 key Saudi oil facilities knocked out half of the kingdom's oil output for days. Yemen's Houthi rebels said they were responsible for the attack. Both US and Saudi officials quickly cast doubt on that claim.
كافة الدلائل والمؤشرات الأولية لم يكن الهجوم الإرهابي من الأراضي اليمنية كما تبنت الميليشيات الحوثية.
Satellite imagery released 2 days later revealed precision strikes. During a news conference on September 18th, the Saudi military said 18 drones had attacked an oil processing plant, while 7 cruise missiles were fired at an oil field. Iran provides financial backing and military support to the Houthis, who are fighting a devastating civil war against the internationally recognized Yemeni government. But their relationship is a complicated one.
The Houthis are fiercely independent, and the Iranians might be involved in training and equipping them, but they certainly do not have command and control over them.
But I do think that Iran's leverage over the Houthi missile force is so large that in the end they can dictate terms if they want to.
This isn't the first time the Houthis have claimed to hit Saudi targets. In May, drones attacked oil pumping stations near Riyadh. In June, a missile attack on a Saudi airport wounded more than 24 people. But the September attack was far more sophisticated.
So I think from day one, Yemen was definitely ruled out almost immediately, at least to me, given that I've basically been able to monitor the way the Houthis have progressed in terms of their weapon sophistication over the last 3 years, and they have yet to reach this kind of coordinated precision attack.
What we would expect from a Houthi attack would be 2 drones crashing into the facility, perhaps a third, perhaps a tank would burn. But this level of sophistication, really kicking the plant out of operation for a while, that is something that would be such an insane quantum leap from the Houthis.
Have you seen evidence, proof that Iran was behind the attack?
Well, it's looking that way. We'll have some pretty good, we're having some very strong studies done, but it's certainly looking that way at this point.
In regards to the Iranians and the developing of their technology, they've shown that they are very competent at developing their own weapon systems. And not only just developing locally, but then basically equipping their proxies or people who are considered to be aligned with them with the same gear.
These are the recovered pieces of a missile fired by Houthi militants from Yemen into Saudi Arabia. Unequivocally, that these weapons were supplied by the Iranian regime.
So that tracing that origin becomes incredibly difficult, which is why we were all torn in the middle between, did this come from Yemen, did this come from Iraq?
That the Houthis claim responsibility for something in order to provide a smokescreen for an attack that has been ordered by Iran and has been conducted from a very different staging area would not be without precedent.
On September 18th, Saudi Arabia displayed remnants of what it said were Iranian-made weapons from the attacks on the oil installations. The location of the damage shown in the satellite images suggests the attacks came from the north or northwest. The kingdom released video it claimed shows the strikes came from a northern direction.
On the other hand, with cruise missiles and drones, you can change the direction of flight quite easily, so it's not a very certain sign that these attacks come from this direction.
The Saudis also pointed to the range of the weapons used as evidence of Iranian involvement. The oil facilities were more than 500 miles away from Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen.
So I'd be very skeptical about remnants. Once again, it's one of those contexts where words and documentation are all charges, and they do definitely light fires.
But experts say drones and missiles are part of Iran's security strategy. And while Saudi Arabia is a major purchaser of US arms, the attack revealed its vulnerability to asymmetric warfare.
Cruise missile defense is incredibly difficult. In this particular incident, what you have is a volley of attacks, multiple missiles being fired at the same time with a combination of drones. What happens is the systems themselves become incredibly overwhelmed.
I think this is one of these attacks that will be studied in military history in 10 years from now, 20 years from now, as some kind of turning point when it comes to modern warfare.
While Iran has denied any involvement, the attack appears to be the most dramatic escalation in a series of bold actions Iran has taken since President Trump withdrew from the 2015 Iran nuclear deal. Officials have stopped short of saying the attack was launched from inside Iran.
What would be the consequence of an American or a Saudi military strike on Iran now?
An all-out war.
We have just sanctioned the Iranian National Bank. That is their central banking system.
The Trump administration has been quick to blame Iran for every thing that goes wrong in the Middle East. The Trump administration continuously and consistently has portrayed Iran as the source of all evil. And the speed with which Secretary of State Mike Pompeo pointed the finger of blame at the Iranians, I think even reduced the credibility of the administration.
However, if this did come from Iran, I think this would be the first time that you could distinctly see the Iranians pushing a button, and that button being the US reaction. I think they were trying to push the boundary and see how far they could go with an attack like this and whether it would warrant a reaction from both the Saudis or the Americans or their allies. But this is if it did come from Iran. It is still incredibly difficult to say that it distinctly came from Iran with the information that's available out there.